So, hello. I'm very glad that the previous talk was hardcore coding stuff and technical stuff because this is really InfoSec. And yeah, so it's a little bit balanced. So my name is Wolfgang Hotwagner, aka Hotti. And that's also the name I'm listening to. If someone calls me Wolfgang, I'm mostly confused. So I work for the Austrian Institute of Technology, but I'm not here as the AIT. I'm just in a private matter here. As you can see in this cloud, Linux is the biggest part here. I'm using Linux for 25 years, and I'm really a Linux enthusiast and always focused on security, like right from the beginning, and also on programming. I mean, I was a Linux administrator for a very long time, but always in my spare time, I always had some coding projects. I write a lot of Ruby code actually. For example, I wrote some exploits in my work at the AIT for Metasploit. So Metasploit is in Ruby, and the exploits, almost any exploit I write is a Ruby exploit, or written in Ruby, not for Ruby. I have to be careful with that. And I found some interesting bugs as well, like GitLab. I even cached a bug bounty for GitLab. And I also found, I mean, my first open source project that I actually found a security related bug was in VirtualBox. Most of you will know. And yeah, I do a lot of things at the AIT. I mostly focus on machine learning and simulating testbed, attack and defense stuff thingy. That's why I need a lot of exploits. And I also wrote a tool, but this one in Python, which automatically executes attack chains. You can define them in YAML code, and then it will execute the whole thingy. And of course, I'm here as a Ruby developer, and I have like one new Ruby project. It's called Aha Secret, and I will show you later what this is. So before I start, I have like 3 takeaways for you, 3 different kind of takeaways. First things first, I want to show you our cool app. Second, I want to show you what kind of threats such an application can have, because there are many apps like that out in this world, and they face the same problems that we do. And also I want to show you, since you all are developer, how you can integrate such, how you can apply such kind of security in your projects. So left shift security, who knows what that is? Okay, I'm very glad. So I'm very, very glad. So in the past, we had like this timeline of a software project where you have like the start of the project, the design and everything stuff. And at the end, we also did a little bit of security, right? Security we take care at the end. And so if the end is the right side, we shift now security to the left side. So this means we take care about security right from the beginning. Even if we just have a concept, we take care of security. And I will show you a very easy way to do that. And a very easy way to do that. And you will have kind of benefits, yes? Because if you do a left click on the security at last page, you will get the mistake before that, but it's not security should be actually from every single, yes, but we start with the very first beginning. That's the meaning, because I mean, left shift security will always be mentioned with this DevSec stuff and DevOps stuff. So many people mean when they talk about left shift security, just the testing we do in kind of continuous integration pipelines. But it's even more, and I want to talk about that more. So who knows what the threat model is? Who knows how to create a threat model? And then I won't ask who uses a threat model in their project. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. I mean, when we talk about threat model, it's something very abstract and it's something very complicated. And when you read about threat models, you always get some documentations and specifications, which are really terrible to read. And I believe that we all should use a threat model, especially if we have like a security, high security relevant applications, because it will improve our security a lot and it doesn't need to take a lot of time for that. And the next thing is we as developers, we know about our application. We know what kind of issues can appear. And we also have the ability to somehow rate if this is bad or not. So to outsource such a kind of things like a threat model is never a good idea, because you should establish it and use it in your continuous workflow. But for me, I'm an engineer. I'm a really hardcore engineer, and the hackers are the cool stuff. And I know a lot of cool hacker themes in the popular culture. And information security is the boring stuff, right? Because there are processes and things and a lot of blah blah, and yeah. But that was my opinion a couple of years ago, but everything changed for me when they took me to a project which was for a critical sector in a very early stage. Like, this was a huge and expensive project, and they created one project to evaluate if they will do a project. So and they really took me into this early phase, and there was no such thing as a design. There was only like a concept, like ideas, and a lot of people talking about concepts and ideas. And I really faced the possibility to put in security right from the beginning. And then then I just started to create a threat model, and I was able to, just with this concept, to show and illustrate what kinds of problem can occur if we do it in that way. And that was really a lessons learned for me. So what are the benefits? It works for concepts. This means as long as you can draw a diagram, you can create a threat model. And for me, a threat model is something that helps you to think about security in your project. It doesn't necessarily mean that the deliverable, this threat model that in the end will be there, is the product that you are facing. More you think about security, and that's the real benefit here. So the document that will be created in the end is just like, I call it persistency. So I can save it, I can drink a lot of alcohol in the weekend, and next week I can take this document and I know again what I was talking about last week. And I really think that knowing your weaknesses is a really, really interesting thing, because when you know what kind of problems can occur in a design or in a project, then you can try to apply security by design. So this means you can avoid certain problems that can occur and can bring you in deep problems. When I sat at home and was thinking about your benefits, because I guess you all are developers, uh, It was pretty hard because all the benefits in university everybody's talking about are the benefits for companies. But we are developers. We don't care about that much about companies, right? We need some kind of personal gain. And the thing is, when I start a new project, I make it really nice. So I try to make all this fancy C stuff, and the tests are perfect in the beginning, and I do the best documentation in the beginning, and I really take every side quest I can do, and to have a threat model is like perfection. So now I want to show you a little bit around in our software we are creating, and so you know what I'm talking about. So I show you a free open source software that encrypts secrets in yeah, true. Thanks. And nice that you noticed. So our application encrypts secrets in the browser, sends the encrypted cipher to the server. There it is stored, and you can send. It generates a link. The link includes the keys, and you can share this link. And as soon as the person clicks on the link and clicks on decrypt, it will be decrypted in the browser. The key material will never be on the server, so there is only the stored secret there. Does anybody know such an app? Okay, because there are a couple of apps that do exactly the same, and we weren't happy with any of them. So we just created our own. So let's see how this goes. So this is just on my local host, so I don't have HTTPS here. And it would not work with HTTP if this would be a remote server, because the JavaScript library I'm using for encryption denies working without HTTPS. So I can put here any secret. If I can define any time when it should be automatically deleted on the server. I can set an additional password if I want. I will come back to this feature later, and then I can create a secret. So as you can see here, the secret, the key starts with a hash here. And this hash means that this is not sent to the server. Otherwise, we would have the keys inside the log files. And that's not what we want. So this hash, this is kind of a feature of the browsers. Make sure that it's like an anchor, right? I think it's an anchor, mostly used as an anchor, yes. So now we can send this link, and it's not encrypted yet, and it's even not fetched yet. And we can click on reveal, and then we see our secret. So let's go back. That's it. That's everything. And I think the features we were missing on the other tools that do the same stuff is we want to make it like really stupid simple. So just the thing it has to do, we want to encrypt and decrypt secrets without any other functionalities. And we want to make this in the most secret or most secure way in order to feel safe. Because anyway, this is a security related app. So we really don't want to rely on any apps that are not secure. So what does it mean, or how can we set up such a process? Now, if you are in InfoSec and you learn about InfoSec management, It's all about risk management. So we always have to identify anything. As a pen tester, we have to identify vulnerabilities. As a manager, I have to identify threats or weaknesses. Anything we have to identify. Then we have to analyze it, to rank it, to prioritize it. Then we have to treat it. And at the end, we have to monitor it. And then we try to keep that cyclist. So we try to integrate such a process in our daily lives somehow. The integration can be in different parts. I will show you later how we can do that in our lives. And so that it's basically done regularly and without much effort. Before we start, before we can identify, I just told you that as long as we can paint or draw some diagrams, we can identify a threat or do a threat model. This is a kind of a data flow diagram. And this data flow diagram allows us to define some actors and some applications or some components. And then we can define some data flows in our app. This is a very simple and simplified version here. Of course, in a bigger app, it will be much more bigger. And you can even divide that in multiple diagrams if you want. And as soon as you have such a diagram, you always half there because the tool I will show you later will then automatically give you a couple of tables and lists, and you just have to fill them out in the way I will show you in the next slide. Because we have a method, it's called Stride. Stride is developed by Microsoft, and I really think they need it. And it's basically, you look at your components and on your data flows. You look basically on everything you saw in this diagram, and just think about what kind of spoofing can happen here, what kind of tampering can happen, how does it affect our reputation, information disclosure, and so on. Of course, not all those are relevant for every single part of this data flow diagram. There are some parts which only are information disclosure and I think spoofing are required. But the tools we have already do that for you. You don't have to think about what kind of threat can be there. So we just think about like what kind of information disclosure leak can happen at this component or this thing. And then we are like almost there because we have almost identified everything we need. Next step, since we are still just in identify, we also have to rank or prioritize. Oh, and as a reminder, if you're new to this, and you don't have any idea what kind of spoofing can happen here and tampering. I mean, this is the hardest part of the whole threat modeling, to identify those things. And here I would really recommend, don't think a lot about that, just do it. It can be very, I mean, it can be very general, like a person could spoof another's message, things like that. This will start in the beginning, and later when you go on in your project, you will have even more detailed threats because things will occur like kind of encryption problems that can appear. And then all the threats that you figure out will be just more specific. But in the first time, just make it as general as possible, as long as you just identified threats here. And I really believe that it doesn't need to be really perfect. Your diagram doesn't need to be very perfect. I mean, even the worst threat model can be better than none. And it can help you a lot. Actually, when we do pen tests and we ask, do you have a threat model for that? If the company says yes, then a lot of work is already done and it helps you to reduce costs here. But also, yeah?
Just one question. Could you tell us what all of these terms mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Spoofing means like you say you're someone who you're not, for example. And tampering means manipulating, basically. So you manipulate firmware or you manipulate the database. Then repudiation is, in German, it's called Abstreitbarkeit. It basically means, do you log everything and everything that is relevant? So if somebody sends a message to someone and this is a very important message and it's very important that it is really it was really sent because for legal reasons or something like that, then you have to take care about logging for that. So that if a person says, no, I sent it, you can still say, no, you didn't, and you can define that. Information disclosure, yeah, I mean, an open AWS bucket is a best is a best example for that. Denial of service, I think you all know, it's like the service doesn't work. And elevation of privilege is if you can simply elevate your privileges. This means this doesn't necessarily mean that you are on a machine and then you gain admin privileges. It can also mean that you are a web user and you gain database permissions or something like that. So it could be in a distributed system that you gain privileges to another system. And again, use OWASP. OWASP is our friend here. So whenever I'm stuck, I look like what kind of threats or what kind of exploits or what kind of attacks can appear on such a system. And when you don't have a web application, there are plenty of lists for other applications as well. And especially pen testers, they always use some kinds of lists. So you find a lot of them. Yeah? No, I mean, I use the top 10 for the inspiration. And normally you get the flow, like what kind of threats can, and when you write them down, you already know the next one. So it's not that hard. I mean, even if you are not a security professional, just to identify what can happen on a database, uh, it's pretty easy because somebody can read something they should not read, somebody can write something they should not write. So things like that. So it's not like a huge thing. And if you write such things down, it's still better than nothing because you evaluate what kind of threat this is, and you evaluate in the next step how you're ranking and how your analysis about this is, your opinion. And another thing is when you write that down, when you identify a threat and you rate it, and you find some mitigation because that comes later, mostly you will find out that some kinds of threats and some kind of component types are not in your scope because you're a software developer, and when there is a problem that can occur because someone installs it the wrong way, you can like, yes, but you put it in the documentation, but it's nothing you can do about. Not every problem is your problem. And that's good. Actually, that's very good because then you have a kind of scope in the end. And when you get some pen tests, you already have a scope, you already have some risk evaluation, so you're pretty well prepared. So what is analyzing? I mean, this is risk management stuff. You have a likelihood, you have an impact, and you can simply evaluate if your problem is low or medium or critical, right? I don't think so, because the problem here is it strongly depends on what kind of company you are, what kind of application you have, what kind of, I mean, when I talked about the critical sector, for them, denial of service is like lives are on stake, kind of critical. So denial of service is then always critical. So I don't have to think about any severity or something like that. Denial of service means critical. And if I am a developer for a documentation system A denial of service is bad, but it's not critical, not necessarily. So it strongly depends on what kind of application you have. And also, I said it's a very nice practice to this threat model thing, to think about security and think about threats, thinking about what kind of impact and what kind of likelihood it has and how critical it is for me is also a kind of that process. Yeah, and then you get such a kind of report and you have like a summary and you have like mitigated and not mitigated and high priority. And I can tell you those are the same. And again, you have to think about, yes? Yeah, treating, like how behandeln. Because this is kind of this risk management thingy. I try to keep the names the same. How you treat your problem here, or how you treat the threat here, or the risk. And in risk management, we have like a couple of things we can do. For example, we can outsource a risk. We take a insurance company for that, and they will pay. But as developers and security people, we can't do that here. We just have mitigated or not mitigated. And mitigated could be like reduced or eliminated here.
I guess as a developer, a lot of time we can outsource the risk as well. Involve
I don't think so. Yeah, true. But the thing is exactly that should change. We should all keep or start having a holistic view here. And yeah, that's it. So we have now like mitigated or not mitigated. This is the easiest part. Because normally when we think about threats, we normally have any idea how to mitigate them. This is not so hard. And even here, this is the last step where we can still define like out of scope. But still better than nothing and pretty excellent when you have such a thing. And next thing is monitoring. So we identified threats, we analyzed them, we treated them somehow, and now we have to establish some kind of continuity. And we have to make sure that the thing we created here, this threat model thingy, this document, that we take it more in our hands. And I would really suggest to do that on change requests, because there is a change request. Is it a new feature? Is it somehow, I mean, you just have to think a little bit about, does it somehow affect anything? I mean, usually, you know, this is a big change or this is a new feature. We need to check if there are threats here or not. And some changes will simply be just like hotfix, don't care. So it's not that difficult, but it's an opportunity to make this like a regular thing, to take this threat model as a regular thing and look at it again and again and again and again. And it will improve. It really will improve. During my preparation for these slides, I added a couple of threads. We were already thinking about them. We even mitigated them, but we just forgot about to document them. So the tool we are using is Threat Dragon. It's from OWASP. I think it's free open source. And I saw during my research that there is also a GitLab integration for it. So you can integrate that somehow in GitLab as well. And this tool is very simple. You can draw your diagram and then it creates your lists and you can simply create the threads. And there are a couple of videos out there how to do that. It's basically a web app, but you can use it as an Electron app as well, and you can download it. It works for Linux and Mac OS and Windows, and I use it locally. And it just produces a JSON, or if you create a report, a PDF. So, do you have any idea? You saw now our web app. Do you have any idea what kind of information disclosure threat we can face in such an app? Pardon? Exactly, like breaking the encryption, yeah, somehow, or yes. And denial of service? Yeah, I would say even, I mean, this is a web app without any registration or anything. You can write data to the database directly. So I guess there is a lot of opportunities. And elevation of privilege? Code execution, yes. Code execution. So someone injects some code, someone is able to inject some code and gain access to the database when it's a SQL injection, or to the server where the web app runs when it is a command injection, for example. Those are some threats we are facing. So as you can see, it's not that hard to think about that and identify something. So I put here some highlights that we identified. So the encryption can be broken, and also because of the reuse of the initial vectors. So when you create an AES secret and you try to encrypt it, and you use a generated secret and you use it twice, it can break your or weaken your encryption. So this is something we were facing, and initially we just had like encryption can be broken. And during our work, we figured out like we were figuring out how this AES algorithm in JavaScript works. And during our research, we figured out, okay, this is of course a problem, and then we put it and added to our threat model. Server-side attacker could guess encryption key. This is another thing. That's a very nice thing because many other apps that do exactly the same have the problem that when you create a custom password, this custom password is the password for the encryption. This means when you use the password 1234, the server admin can brute force your encrypted secret. And that we changed. We have like double encryption. So when you encrypt, when you set a custom password, it will be encrypted with your custom password, and then everything will encrypt it again with a nice key and a proper key, like any other secret as well. This means administrator on this server is not able to brute force your password, because the first encryption is a strong key, which is provided by the link, and the custom password yeah, is just the next one. It's just an additional feature here. So this is already a big difference, and I think that's a big difference because we have a threat model, because we were just thinking about such kind of threats here. Flood of requests, that's the DOS attack, and fill up disks. It's the only app I know that does such kind of things with an integrated rate limiting. So we just added rack attack here. And yeah, enumerate possible payload IDs is something, because I mean, we just, it's not just about gaining the secret here, but also deleting the secret. If anybody can guess the ID of the payload, they can simply brute force it on the API and then delete everything. That's bad enough. And supply chain attack. I put it here because supply chain attack is something we have to consider, especially when we think about, let's say, Node.js, because there are a couple of thousands of modules, which is fine if it's just a web app. But if it's a really security relevant app, then we try to eliminate as much dependencies as we can. So we focused on a Ruby app, and everything we do in the front end, we do just with CSS or plain JavaScript here. So this supply chain attack is such a critical thing here because of the next thing that happens when I click here, not mitigated. An attacker on the server side can still inject a JavaScript that is malicious and steals the secrets. And that's also one takeaway here, that such kind of web apps do have such risks, and we were not able to mitigate this because this would mean we need some signed JavaScript. Otherwise, we can ensure we can't ensure secure security here. This means we can't mitigate it. But however, what we can do is, as a server administrator, we can create some kind of monitoring here. So when you have some hash checking functions, then this would be the place to go. So just hash check your web apps, save the checksums to a separate device or separate server or something like that, and do the checks regularly. And then you can at least detect if something happens on your server. So this would be a mitigation, but this is nothing we can do, or as a developer we have any scope here. And this problem do all the web applications who share such secrets have, because this is pretty, yeah.
What do? You send the link, you send it by email.
You can send it, for example, by Signal.
Oh,
So it's just like, we provide the link.
What the attacker get the email?
Yeah, you have the opportunity to provide a custom password.
Okay.
So that's the thing we already. Yeah, phone or meeting, or if you have like you meet some person, like I meet Armin all the time, so we can talk about, and we share a secret when we meet, and then we always use that secret, for example.
I think it's also possible to provide checksums in the script tag. So if you keep the checksums and the JavaScript files in separate servers, and there is some kind of server which creates a script tag from these different sources, then the browser should check it as well.
That would be an.
Yeah, but then you would have to have access to both those.
You need both.
One.
I will look into that.
I think we discussed this soon.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, but that would be an opportunity, yes. So, in conclusion, threat model is actually pretty useful. It does not need to be magic, and I really think that everybody can do it, and it's not much work, not that much work. And even an incomplete threat model is better than no threat model. So if you were thinking about it, and if you really took some effort, this really pays out. And yeah, there's a new secret sharing tool in town. Today we received our logo, so we will have a logo soon. And the person who created that logo also provided us some help and support in designing everything. And another feature we want to integrate is like auto-generated some secrets, if you just have to share a random password. And yeah, not all threats can be mitigated, and it's not always in your hand. I have an actually big resource list if you really want to dig deeper into it. There is at least one book here, and otherwise check out OWASP. OWASP has a really good documentation about threat modeling, and even I mean there is this one book. This is the book everybody refers in scientific papers and everywhere. But I read this book and it's a pain in the ass to read. So this is after I read this, I was like, I will never do that. So OWASP is much better here. Really, I can really recommend this. And also, I have a blog. I'm blogging here and there about what I'm doing. So, any questions?
So, Wolfgang? Yep, going straight to questions.
So not really a question, but a feature request, a single-use secret.
Pardon?
A single-use secret. So a secret that if I send it to someone, they can only decrypt it once.
That's it.
That's
When you when you
Okay,
it's
so
automatically deleted then on the server.
yeah.
So that's it.
Okay. Okay. I didn't get that, sorry.
Yeah.
More questions?
I heard there's even a command line client.
Thank you, Armin. You're yeah, we also wrote a Rust client. So there is a command line client, and I think we even support Mac. I think we support it. We automatically generate binaries, so you have on GitHub binaries for that. But since it's Rust, you can simply compile it.
Thanks for that.
Also,
question.
yeah.
So is AHA Secret available in production right now?
Yes,
And
it is.
what are your plans for this project for the future?
So actually, a friend of us, of Armin and me, and Michael, asked us that they need such kind of app. They used another one, but they were not happy with the future of that project. And they asked us, what else can we take? And we were like, let's write one. And that company heavily also helps us to improve. So, for example, for that company, because they need some compliance thing, is we added some custom footer, for example, and things like that. So that company, and they already installed it for a couple of customers with custom CSS, of course. And I know at least of one big company in Austria who's also using it.
Amazing. Congrats.
One more question, I think.
Yes. If you go back a few slides.
Yes.
So and forward one. So this is the threat model for this
No,
application?
those are just the highlights.
Okay, so how big is it? How does it look like really?
I think we saw it. It's a little bit here. We had like total threats 31, things like that. I think it changed because I found some, and it was during this work. So I think we have a couple more, but around this.
I didn't get the double encryption with the password. Could you explain that again?
Yeah. So if we use the let's say we have this, every password here is automatically generated in the browser. So there is automatically generated a very long, for AES recommended length of secret, and it is provided, and we then generate the fingerprint, and the fingerprint is provided in this link and the part of the link which is not in the logs, for example. So automatically we have like a really good key length that nobody can easily brute force. So if you create a custom password, for example, and you take a very easy one, like 1, 2, 3, 4, then this
You know my
one,
password.
yeah,
Security expert.
I have expertise, and this one can be easily brute forced and broken. So what we do when we or when you apply a custom password is we first encrypt your secret with your password and then encrypt it with the automatically generated password, which is also supplied in the URL. So on the server there is a secret that is encrypted with a strong key. And when you unpack this one, then you have another secret that has a weak key.
There is a hint in the URL that additionally a custom password is.
Like how do you detect?
Yeah,
that
yeah,
has
we have
to-
this hint. There is this hint.
Okay.
I think it's not in the parameters, but I think we save it in the database. Yeah.
Awesome. So cool. Thanks again, Wolfgang. Hotti. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.